Welcome inside our New York studios. Kevin Carter and Cardale Jones. I'm Brent Stover. One of the storylines early on in the season, obviously Arch Manning and Texas, a top 10 team, but the Florida Gators, 1-3, trying to avoid a 1-4 start in the swamp, playing for pride, at least at this point in the season. We'll see if they can turn things around for Billy Napier and company. Opening drive making a statement. Jaden Baugh makes the defender miss in the backfield, passes the outside, touchdown. Gators 7-0. Now it's 10-0. Arch Manning gets it going, rolls out. Contravion Wisner for the score. The Longhorns down 10-7 in the second, Kevin.
Second quarter, Florida up 10-7. DJ Lagway finds Dallas Wilson in the end zone. Gators up 17-7. Third quarter, Texas down 22-7. Arch Manning taking a shot downfield. He hits Ryan Wingo in stride for a touchdown. Longhorns down 22-14.
Yeah, DJ Lagway, he goes back to, it seems to be his favorite target, Dallas Wilson, who breaks a couple of tackles, and he will not be denied as he muscles his way into the end zone. A little bit of that SEC ball, Texas. You might not be used to that yet, but Manning dropped back here, and he is sacked by George Grubbs Jr. And Florida wins this one big, 29-21.
Massive for Billy Napier. You're talking about a guy that's obviously been on the hot seat. Lagway, 21-28, 298, 2 touchdowns. Arch Manning in the loss, their second of the season, 16-29 for 263, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Kevin, I'll give you the floor. This has been a trying last several seasons, really, for the Gators. Last year, not good. This year, back-to-back years, I know you're not making excuses, but the schedule, brutal. Last year and again this year. But to get this win over Arch Manning and the top 10 Texas team, got to give this fan base a little bit of a boost, at least for this week.
Definitely. And I said this before. I've been talking about this all week long. For Billy Napier, this isn't necessarily about your job. This is about maintaining a standard for a branded program that hasn't been kept. And coming into this game, 20-22 collective record for Billy Napier as he coached the Gators. And you have to ask yourself, man, you know, it's one thing when you don't have the talent, but when you actually are able to land, recruit, and develop a generational talented quarterback, which DJ Lagway, by all accounts, by every expert's opinion, is, and you have that in the backfield, guys like Jaden Baugh, and your defense has been retooled the right way. I love what defensive assistant head coach Ron Roberts has done with this defense. Everything is pretty much set up for you to actually win, but not playing up to the standard is a real problem. But we saw that today. They represented the name. You talked about pride. Talked about having a little identity, and they were able to get that today. DJ Lagway coming into tonight with 67% on the season, and he thrown more interceptions than he had touchdowns. Today, a 75% efficiency rating at quarterback. I mean, just dealing, throwing dimes, but also command of the offense, comfortable, poised in the pocket, a 300-yard passing effort, Cardale.
You know, not just that. I mean, DJ Lagway played by far his best game. I will go back even to last year as a Gator with these implications on the line playing against the number 19 in the country, Texas. But you look at everything that's surrounding DJ Lagway. Dallas Wilson and guys like that stepped up big time today. So it's not all about putting everything on his shoulders, because up until this point, this offense has been letting this team down because this defense is the strength of this team. That's one of the reasons why I felt so confident about this game today, because Florida's defense, they might not be a top 10 team, but this is a top 10 defense of all of college football. And on the flip side, Texas has not been impressive, not just on a national level, but I would say just in the conference, as when you talk about really teams in the SEC who could make a push for SEC championship game and clearly the college football playoffs. I don't think of Texas that way at all. Florida defense exposed them. No real playmakers outside of Arch Manning, where they try to do with him too much in the running game and really can't sustain a drive. If Florida offense continues to play at this level, Florida have a chance to really try to turn the season around.
Well, you talked about Baugh, 27 carries, 107 and a touchdown. Dallas Wilson, 6 receptions, 111 and 2 scores. Lagway, 75% completion. Let's flip it back over to Texas and Arch Manning. I think we all expected this to be a national title caliber team. Obviously, they can still get there. The path just became a lot more difficult because after 5 games, you've already got 2 losses. I'm not sure we expected, if the expectations were fair with Arch Manning, quite frankly. And I'll ask you, the quarterback, Cardale. I mean, all the hype. This guy was making a couple million while he was on the bench and waiting in the wings with Quinn Ewers. doing his thing. 16-29 on this day, a couple interceptions to go with 2 touchdowns, 263. What are you seeing from Arch Manning, and did we possibly overhype him here?
You know what? I think the expectations was fair for him because, as you guys remember, dating back to last year, this Texas fan base was calling to bench Quinn Ewers and put Arch Manning in because of the signs of greatness he showed in the limited action that he played in last year for this team. So, of course, the expectations are going to be high for a guy going into his 3rd year in this offense, in this system. And on top of that, carrying a name like Manning, we're going to naturally expect a lot from him. But when you talk about the lack of star power on that offense, I think it's unfair to put this all on Arch Manning's shoulders and say, hey, we're not winning because of you. They're trying everything with him. In the running game, in the pass game, even when they came out early and tried to throw a trick play on this offensive side of the ball, it just shows you the lack of star power and firepower on offense outside of Arch Manning.
Yeah, game day execution has to count for something, right? I mean, when you look at Texas's offense, we know what they were able to do or what they weren't able to do against Florida's defense. Look, when you get outrushed 159 yards to 52 yards, that tells me that your offensive line isn't doing its job to support your quarterback. When you're constantly making for long 3rd down conversions and you're not making, hay on the early downs in the game, that adds up and it puts a lot of pressure on a quarterback, right? You say, the quarterback's best friend is to turn around and hand it off.
Great run game. Yeah.
It's a good run game, and that was non-existent today for Texas. So when you think about Texas football, talking about playing complementary football from top to bottom, when you don't have pieces that actually show up for you, no, you can't put this on Arch Manning. He was underwhelming, but, man, he had too much to overcome today.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Texas schedule. Obviously, their first loss was to the #1 team in the country, 14-7, Ohio State. You go into a tough road environment with a team with their backs against the wall and lose by 8 against Florida. Now coming up next is the Red River rivalry against #5 Oklahoma. Throw the stats, throw the records, throw everything out the window for that. At Kentucky, at Mississippi State, then Vandy, who's having a phenomenal season despite a tight loss today. Then the Georgia game, Arkansas, #6, A&M. What do you see there with the Texas schedule?
Very well. Could be a quote-unquote rebuilding year for Texas while they get their offense back engaged. I mean, because right now you have to look at how you're winning or losing games. And Texas, for whatever it's worth this season, has not lived up to expectations. But it's not just Arch Manning. It's also the ground game, right? The defense was there early in the season against your guys. They were pretty tough, in week 1, the first couple of weeks. But that defensive output to give themselves a better chance to win the game hasn't been there.
Yeah, this is a frustrating part. And we talked about it last night on our show. Where's the ceiling or what's the real expectations for this Texas team? And I personally said try to get somewhere over 500 as a team. And you look at the remaining part of this schedule, it don't get much easier.
No.
It don't get much easier. The SEC in their part of it's I feel like you want to say something, Brent, because this
because you were saying you expected kind of a mediocre season when they were at people were saying maybe they were the #1 team in the country.
Yeah, I mean,
you might have been right. I mean, you're looking more right than everybody else right now, honestly.
Also, last year everybody picked Arizona State to finish last in the Big 12, and I had them winning the conference. But we're not going to go back to that.
Really?
Certain things you just have.
We did kind of go back to that.
Yeah.
You kind of just took us back to.
Yeah, certain things you got to feel for. But yeah, I mean, like I said before, it just continued to go to the lack of star power on the offensive side of the ball, and not just that. You look at how many great teams is in the SEC. Texas is not in that conversation yet.
Moral of the story, I guess a lot of us need to take a long look in the mirror and realize that Cardale Jones might be on the front end of a lot of this analysis. Florida wins 29-21 on the Texas Longhorns.